Welcome to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast, where we unlock the power within and navigate the journey of your self-discovery together. I'm Shaz, your spiritual mentor and life coach, here to help you tap into your inner guidance system and manifest your best life. Whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or looking to deepen your practice, this podcast offers insights, techniques, and inspiration to elevate your consciousness and transform your reality. Get ready to shine your light and embrace your true potential. Remember, the answers are inside you. Let me be your guide on earth. Welcome back to the Spiritual Awakening podcast with Shaz. I'm your host, Shaz. Have you ever witnessed physical mediumship or channeling in person? I've been lucky enough over my time to witness it in many different formats. By our spiritual church, I've witnessed a fair few mediums channel messages from spirit. When you watch them come into their body, their voice changes, their mannerisms changes, the look on their face changes, and you can tell that they're channeling another person. I've witnessed healers do it, watching the beings come into their body as they perform healing or psychic surgery and things like that. I've been to physical mediumship demonstrations where they work with ectoplasma and so forth. Well, just last weekend, I went and visited a spiritual church in Manly who has had the pleasure of guest hosting a gentleman called José Medrado. And he is a Brazilian gentleman who channels master painters. Now, I'm talking Renoir, Van Gogh, Monet, and many more master painters of this time. People we've heard of, we see their paintings in museums, online, and they're like phenomenal. They are just a whole different breed of artists and so forth. And my God, it honestly blew my mind. It was the most amazing, beautiful experience I've ever witnessed. We sat in this hall for like 3.5 hours. The first hour or so, he was telling us his experiences with them and the stories that spirit could tell. We'll go some more into that a bit later, but he was very funny, very expressive. He's a great speaker and entertainer. He gets his message across, even though he didn't speak English at all. He had a translator, and even how he had the translator translate the information, he would question it sometimes in case she wasn't getting it right. So he sort of understood English to a fair degree, but he couldn't speak it as clearly. So he did speak through a translator. But you could definitely see the way the message got across, the characteristics and the language. And you could do that with anyone that you're witnessing when they're talking to you. We don't have to speak the same language in order to communicate very clearly. But the energy expressed throughout this experience was something that, oh my God, I'm so blessed and honored to have witnessed it and been a part of it. And I'm really grateful that I was able to go and be a part of this beautiful life experience. And if you've never gone to see someone in pure channel and you do have an opportunity to go and see it, go. Seriously, you will love it. It will blow your mind. Now, over the course of that evening, as I said, he gave us a talk at the beginning and he shared some stories of his relationship with Renoir. Now, as someone who deals with spirit guides and has people channel through, the relationship that you have with spiritual beings can be quite hilarious, and they have their own personality and their own demands, and they are still the same personality-wise as they were here on Earth, even when they're in spirit. So they have their same control issues and their desires. And he was explaining a story about when Renoir woke him up to paint at like 3 a.m. in the morning. And trust me, spirit do this to you all the time. I've had them wake me up, and if you don't do what they want, they will annoy the living hell out of you. So when you want peace, you just give in and do it anyway until you create control. But sometimes we just have to do what they want us to do. And he was sharing an experience about this morning where he wanted to do this painting, and he was getting all the stuff and he wanted a certain shade of blue. Now, the translation didn't work out very well, but the crowd turned around and said it must have been Russian blue. And he didn't have that paint. So Renoir wanted him to go and get it at 3 a.m. in the morning. Well, as we all know, paint shops are not open at that time of day. So he said that well, I'll wait, I'll go back to bed and I'll go to sleep. And so he went back to his bed and he laid down and Renoir laid down with him. Now, spirit can do this. And I've experienced it in myself that they can turn around and sit with you and lay with you. And it's very hard to go to sleep when someone's there annoying you. So he had a very frustrated evening until first thing in the morning. He tried to tell him that I won't do it tomorrow, I'll do it the day after. And he decided, no, first thing in the morning, we're going to do this because otherwise I'm going to be haunted, for want of a better word, like a ghost. But that's just the experience that he had. And in it, when they went to the paint shop, he was looking, the first paint shop didn't have it, and the second paint shop didn't have it. And then he went to a third paint shop, and Renoir said, yes, it's there, it's at the back. And the guy goes, no, we don't have any. And he said to the dude, can you go have a look out the back? I'm sure there's a tube there. And Renoir's telling him that there's a tube out the back, it's got a hole in it. But that's okay, we just want the tube anyway. And he sent the guy out the back without telling him what Renoir was saying, even though Renoir was saying, go and tell him that I'm here. Go and tell him that I'm here. And he went and found it, and he found the paint. But Jose would not tell the guy that Renoir was telling him that the paint was at the back, because that's going to freak someone out, right? So he got his paint, went on his way. They went home and painted the journey, did the painting, and everything was fine. Now, when you work with spirit, you have complete faith and trust that they're going to show up for you. And when you're doing physical mediumship, Jose is not a painter. He can't fake this, right? So if they do not come and channel through his body and transition through his body, he looks like a fool of no one. He can't do anything. And he continued the story of a few days later. And spirit can hold grudges and want to teach you lessons. And if you are working in service to spirit and they want something from you, they will demand that you show up with it. And if you don't, they will pay you back in kind. And he witnessed this for himself in the fact that he had a show and he was going to do some painting, and he got there. And he does explain to you beforehand, it is a co-contribution and we have to pray and make sure the energy's risen enough and that everything's all well for the channel to work. Because if the energy's not vibrational enough and there's not enough belief in the room and there's not enough energy and good frequency in the room, they cannot transition into the body. Well, on this event, because he didn't do what Renoir told him and told the shop owner that he was there with him, they decided not to come that day. So no paintings were made. Now, it was embarrassing for him, a harsh lesson to learn, but he did learn his lesson. And in that, the next time when he went looking for a shade of red paint, that he also went out to a different shop and he needed a shade of red paint and he couldn't find it. And Renoir said, there is some out the back. And he told the lady out the back and he said once again, tell her I'm here. Well, can you all imagine how that went down, right? You're going into a shop and you're saying, ma'am, there is a tube of paint that's out the back, and Renoir, you know, the painter Renoir, he's here with me and he's telling me it's out the back. Can you go and have a look? And she just like stands back and looks and goes, "Oh, okay," toddles off and gets the paint and comes back with the paint. And the way, like his mannerisms and everything, how he explained it, the way he explained it, he's like, she's got the paint tube and she goes, here you go, and drops it off and steps back. And then he goes, thank you. And she goes, no charge. Off you go, off you go. And then like she's panicking and worrying about it. And he's walking to the door and she goes, and take him with you. So her fear over spirit and not wanting Renoir to stay in her shop. And this just goes to show the deep personality of the spirit and the gentleman who was Renoir when he was around. He has a quirky sense of humor and they like to play tricks on people. This poor woman was horrified, not spiritually connected, had no idea and was afraid of him being left behind. But these experiences, one, gave you an insight into the personality of the channeler, of Jose himself. And it gave you clear insight of the humor of spirit. Now, I personally have experienced it, and if you haven't, it is something that you can't even fully explain. They take over your body and you do things that are out of the ordinary, and you have to play the game and you have to come along. And if spirit does not want to show up for you and you do not want to work with them and they want you to do things and you don't do them, they will find ways to punish you or teach you a lesson or get you more on board with what they demand. Now, for those watching the video, you can see that I'm scratching the back of my neck, right? And it's literally because my own spirit guides are channeling through me going, yeah, this is what we want you to do. And this is how I feel it. And the full body tingles and the confirmation that I had when I witnessed this on last Friday evening has stuck with me. And I was blessed to take a few friends with me, and it blew our mind. Like, seriously, I've never witnessed anything like it. The artistry was phenomenal. And I went there with an open mind. I love artists. I really do. I love paintings. I can view some all day long. Do I think I have a lot of knowledge of painters? No. When he started talking about Renoir, I had to go through the memory banks going, do I know what Renoir looked like? And then I seen a vision of him standing next to him. And I've got this man and he's got like grayish hair here and he had like a pointy beard. And I'm like, is that Renoir? That's what he looks like to me. That's what I seen. And he had this black, like capey sort of thing on. And I had to go back through the memory and really think about it and ask myself, if you ask me who he was, I've gone, yeah, I've heard of the dude. Do I know what he looked like? Not particularly. And on Saturday when I come home, I went and Googled Rema. And quite frankly, the image that I've seen was exactly what he looked like. And I didn't even know that I knew him. I knew of him as we do. We hear about painters and we hear about the history of it. And I've heard of Renoir, Monet and Van Gogh. Honestly, if you ask me if I knew what their paintings look like, I have very vague recollections. I've not honestly seen any in an museum or anything like that. I've not witnessed them personally, but the styles are there. They've come across life at some time. Now, may have studied art at school. I don't remember. I have some great friends that are artists. One of my friends went and studied painting in Italy to learn the arts, and she's got a picture of the girl with the pearl. I'd never heard of that artist either. And then the swan one, I'd never heard of them either. So I looked up some styles and bits and pieces from spending quality time with her and trying to understand more. But it made me realize how either intuitive I was to understand the styles or how recognizable certain aspects of the artwork really were. Because throughout this experience, the first painting and the first channel that he did was Renoir. And when I looked at it, I've gone, oh, that does look like, I think I've seen a Renoir, or I must recognize the style because it looks like a recognizable style. Could I tell you that that was 100% Renoir style without knowing it was Renoir? Because he did explain to us the first channel would be Renoir. No, I couldn't. The second painting that he channeled, I'm sitting there watching him and he's using like sponges and fingers. First, you watch the channel come over him. His eyes roll back in his head, the shudder of it physically getting into his body, and then the movements. And it's so quick. It's like phenomenal, seriously. And he'd use sponges and paint, and the way he would reach and get the paint, you could tell that it was a very specific person. They were set out in ways in color palette, and he would reach and grab different things. He used sponges, his fingers, and lots of movement and things. It was amazing. But the moment they turned that second painting around, now we were watching it from like an upside down perspective and via a video monitor that was sort of above him. So you could see what he was doing and have very clear view of the blank canvas and how it came about. There was no denying that this was done in real time. Like, it was just beautiful. You've seen every aspect of what he was doing. And the moment they held up the second painting and turned it towards us, I go, oh my God, that's a Monet. Now, if you asked me 10 minutes before, would I know a Monet, recognize a Monet, or I even knew who Monet was? I don't know if I intuitively guessed it, but I looked at it and associated Monet to the painting before they described that it was a Monet painting. And it blew my mind. Like, it was like, one, what the hell? How do I recognize that? But the flowers were very Monet style. Like, I'd obviously seen a different style like it, or I don't know. It was highly recognizable to me, and the audience felt the same. I have pictures on my phone of these beautiful images. They are phenomenal. I'm putting together some videos on TikTok, so you can go check them out later to go and see some of the things. But if you've never seen the style or witnessed what he's done, go and Google and learn about José Medrado. He is brilliant. The third painting or the fourth painting that he did, when that was held up and you're looking at it, because you're looking at the styles, right? And it was in pale yellows and greens. And my friend Carol loved it. They were her colors and it was her style that she just fell in love with it. And up in the top was this circular pattern that just was at the top of the canvas. And I went, oh, that's like Van Gogh. And just as I said that in out loud, the descriptor was telling us, and this is a Van Gogh. And I'm like, wow. And you recognize the style. To witness a dead painter create an artwork with recognizable patterns and skill of someone that's been long gone. These painters have been in spirit or dead from earth plane for years and years and years. But to witness it, like, I can't explain it in words of how amazing and phenomenal it really was. It changed my life. And like, I have admired artists. I can watch a painter and a good quality artist all day. Some of my favorite videos on TikTok is there's a page that I follow called My Art, and she puts sticky tape on things and brushes things and does palettes and makes these glorious paintings. Watching them create, I've watched spray painters create paintings. It doesn't matter who you do it. Throughout the process, at one stage, I turned around and said, a lot of them were like scenery or vases of like flowers and stuff like that, and everyday sort of things. And I just had the thought in my head of, I'd be really impressed if you could do like a face or an angel. And the next thing you know, he painted this face or angel picture. Now, just excuse me a minute because I'm going to go double check my photos, because it's the only one that I never fully recognized the painter or the style, but I do have a picture of it, and it's T. Lautrec or something like that. I'm not sure. But it was like, you could literally see, 1 minute I'm looking at a blank canvas, the next minute there's an outline where you vaguely know there's going to be a face there. And if you've never watched the construction of a painting, when I draw, and I'm not an artist in any way, shape, or form, right? So I admire people that do it. And I've watched, I can sit and watch people draw and do artistic work for hours and days, as I said. But in this, like, he did the outline of where the face was going to go. Well, you'd think that you do the face first. That's how my brain works. And then you do the outline or the background next. It's not the way they do it. The background came first and all the stuff. And then he built like this white shadow around it. And then he started on the details of the face. And just the way that it was layered and the process of it. He used different mediums, like he was using sponges, his hands, there were brushes, there were scrapers, there were different bits and pieces. And seeing it in person and watching it flow through his body was truly amazing. And the energy shifts, the frequency in the room. each painting, as I said, some took 2 to 3 minutes, and the first one took 12.5 minutes. The first Renoir was the longest, and the last Renoir probably took about 8 minutes, but most were anything from 2 to 6, 7 minutes. They told us throughout the process how long each painting took, and it was, there's no other word, and I keep saying it, but just totally mind-blowing. It was a phenomenon that you just had to be there to see. And not being alive when these artists were on the planet, to see this renewed is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful and moving. When he came and did all these bits and pieces, the flow was phenomenal to watch. As I said, there were different hand movements for different painters. There was different speed for different painters. Some of them were extremely fast. And it made us sit there and wonder, okay, yes, he's channeling these, and some of them are done like in 4 minutes, but how long do artists take to paint a picture? My friend Lorraine that was with us, she did some artwork and she showed us some of the imagery of it, and she feels that she might have been a painter in a past life or something that she channeled through it. And they took like 8 to 9 months to do. When I was with it and living with my friend Sue, some of her artworks were done in like 20 minutes or in a couple of hours, and others I knew took months, like different things. How long did these painters take to create the master painters? The Monet that we've seen took like 4 and a bit minutes. It was very, very quick. And I remember seeing another imagery of the 2 types of flower bushes that were like it elsewhere. And it makes you wonder, how long did it take for them to paint? And it's something that we don't really know. I know some artworks can take years and years and years, and others can be so inspired, so beautiful that they appear like magic on the paper. The different mediums that he used, I didn't know you could paint that well with sponges, and to watch him like just dab bits and pieces. And then like I've watched people with scrapers and brushes and little tools do it, but he did a lot of it with his hands and his fingers, and he's moving his hands bits and pieces and dabbing the fingers and smudging this and that. And it was just amazing. Now, most of these painters, when they were alive, they all painted in oil-based paint. And this is why it probably took a long time for the paintings to be created, because oil dries slow. It's very thick. It's a very thick medium, and it has to be layered in specific ways, because if you don't let it dry and it doesn't blend well, and it ends up like, it would look like a piece of charcoal mess. It would be feral. Due to the experience and the speed of which these demonstrations are done, he uses acrylic paints. And they're quick drying, they're very fast, they blend so well, and they leave distinct patterns and shading and everything like that. And you can layer them on top of layers without them mixing, just the type of paint that he uses. And even that lesson, as they explain the different mediums, why they did it and how it all came to be, made a whole lot of difference. So there is no way that any of these paintings could have been done in their time in the speed of which I witnessed it throughout this evening, simply due to the medium and depth of oil paintings. If you ever get a chance and there is a master painter in a museum nearby, go and look at it and really study the layers of it. So in between each layer of oil paint, it has to dry before you can put the new layer on it. Otherwise, the blending doesn't work. And when you know that, and these were aspects of painting I personally didn't know. I'm not an artist. I like to dabble. I tell you, I'm shit at it. Like, it just doesn't work for me, but it's not my talent. I have my talents and I'm happy with who I am and what I do. But honestly, seeing great artists is the physical bliss that you feel in your body as you witness and see in live, in person, something so special is so, you can hear me, I can't even find the words. I don't like repeating myself, but it's mind blowing, it's phenomenal, it's just truly amazing. It is life changing. And this experience is something that I know will stay with me for a very long time. I have had spirit drawings and paintings and different things done by artists over time, but this just was something that really moved me at a soul and a core level. But I also think the most fascinating aspect of it was to see the way he shifted channel through 9 different people in the space of 90 minutes. Okay. You watch them come into the body. He started with Renoir. He finished with Renoir. And you could tell that the second time, oh my God, Renoir is back in his body. The same mannerisms, the same look on his face, the same vibration, the same frequency or tone that you hear. When I see it, I can see different aspects. As I said, I saw Renoir because I'm like, he started talking about him. I'm like, who is Renoir? I had to think about it because my logical brain was in the way. I'm like, do I even know who that person is? And then I had this image stands next to me and I'm like, oh, really? It wasn't correlating with my logical brain at all. Hence why the next day when I went and Googled, I go, oh my God, that is exactly who I seen. So my own experience of it would have been different to other people because occasionally I do see full things. I seen the outline. I watched the aura around him shift. I watched the energy flow down into the body and exit the body. And there's shudders. Like it's not a, sometimes you may have seen the exorcism. It's not a great experience watching spirit come in and out of your body. The body has to self-adjust. And especially depending on the height of the person or the energy or frequency. Like one of the painters must have been really short because he was hunched over and he was doing things like this all the time. And another one was really tall because of the way it was elegant. It was just amazing. And we watched clearly the expressions on his face, the way his arms and hands moved. He told us in his talk beforehand, you will see this. I move differently. He is aware of it. But when you channel, you're aware of it, you're still in your body, but you're in the distance. So you're allowing an energy to step forward and take over more. But your conscious mind is a bit there. It's just not in the way. And the great part is, as Renoir and the other painters said to Jose, he's not an artist. So when they don't turn up, he can't paint. That experience that he had where they taught him a lesson of next time I tell you to tell someone I'm here to tell you, they didn't show up for him. And that was to get their agreement because sometimes they'll want people to know and other times they'll want people to think that he's crazy. But this was what they needed. But the great part about not being a painter is he has no technique. So he becomes a bit of a puppet that's like a free canvas of they can do what they want and his own thought or his own technique is never in the way because he has no artistry in it. So it's not like it's him forging or practicing or mimicking it. They are actually taking over all of him because he has no recourse to come back to. And that for me was the best part about it, to know 100% that this was true master painters returning to life for moments and bringing the world something that remains. The other great part about this is all of the work that he does is for charity. It's to support orphanage and some things over in Brazil that he does, and to support the people that bring him out here. It is a true service to spirit. This is an aspect of spirituality that not everyone gets to experience. We see it quite often with Esther Hicks and Abraham. She channels them. With the gentleman I can't think of that channels Bashar. We see different other channelers online that do this, and you can see it move through them. You can see them bring down the channel. You can see it physically come into them. But this master painter aspect and watching his experience of creating this, sometimes you wish you could do it at the same time. I don't know that I'd want to give up that much control. You have to have such faith in yourself that you're not going to be overtaken, because in some ways trance state is a lot like hypnotic state. It is pure hypnotic state, actually. And it's where you are giving your body over to the use of someone else. It is where you are giving the essence of you to something else to control it. And that takes a lot of trust and a lot of care. Knowing yourself so well that you can allow that to happen without pulling yourself out of that trance. Because if you think about it, when something comes into your body, your first reaction is to want to expel it, right? And being able to embody that and consciously stand and do a process is amazing. If you ever get the chance and spirit ask you to be of service, to be a channel for them and bring whatever goodness to this world, allow yourself to do it. Take the time to learn it. Master the craft. The world needs so much more of it. It's amazing. I know how different I feel when I channel light language or I channel spiritual beings, or when I heal and they come through me. It is an honor, a gift, and a blessing in so many ways. If you get the experience to ever do this, take it up. You will never regret it. And you never know how important it can be for you. This is not about everyone turning around and channeling just dead painters. This is not going, everyone can do this specific type of channeling. But there are opportunities out there. There are always seeking people for service. If you are honored enough, asked deeply, consider it, and then don't hide it from the world. The best part about this was he shares this with the world. And those that do make the world a better place. We need more of this, whether it's through writing, healing, business, parenting, ideas, music. The world needs to hear more of it. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be a show pony. It doesn't have to be too much of anything. It just needs to be able to be seen, heard, experienced, and shared with this world. This 3D plane has so much opportunity for so much more when we elevate to 5D experiences, and bringing back some of these beautiful things. How better would life be to have more experiences of that? It takes patience, practice, and most of all, it takes trust in self and pure surrender to God and the spirit world to guide you. It's not an easy task. It's not something that is capable for everyone. But if you are capable of doing this, I strongly suggest you allow it, take time with it, share it, and really give the world these experiences of these people that want to come and give more of themselves than before. Because you never know who needs to see it, hear it, or experience it in order to rise up, become more, and really step into their own gifts and their own power to be something more in this world. Open your heart to spirit. Listen to their guidance. Pay attention. Don't force it. Be curious about ideas. Allow them to fully arrive into your body. It's not always trumpets, flashing lights, and formal introductions. Sometimes it is just the guidance to pick up a brush, grab a pencil, grab a pen, write some music, or meditate. Do this for yourself. And please, please to God, share it with the world. I personally would love to see anything of it. If you have a gift like this and a talent, share it to me, send it to me, email me. Please let me see it, because I love things of beauty. This experience has changed me phenomenally inside and out, and it is something I will be forever grateful for. I hope you get the chance to see something similar. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Awakening with Shaz podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss an episode. You can also follow us on Facebook with the links below. Until next time, trust your intuition and let your spirit soar.